what's up? This is BreakmanX, and welcome to the game show on May 17th, 2003. We've got a very special show today for you with a programmer from Bungie. But before we get started, let's all introduce ourselves. Richie, what's up?
Yo, this is Richie, the PC guy around here, bringing you all the good news PC games from E3.
And the other co-host, ShadowmanX.
What's up, everyone? It's Shadow. I'm going to be bringing you all the good, juicy PC and PS2 stuff from E3.
And the man you all came here to hear, Mr. Greg Snook of Bungie.
Hey everybody, this is Greg here with our upcoming plans of world domination.
Yes, because as you all know, Microsoft is going to take over the world very soon. Are any of you folks having a problem losing connection? Because it looks like Roni Trelane says that he keeps losing it, but then again, he's on an extremely shitty-ass connection. Before we get started, just so you know, we accept questions or write-ins throughout the entire show. We'll accept questions throughout the entire show. To do a question, just aim me at KU BreakmanX, or that's on AIM. For Yahoo, do BreakmanX. For MSN, do BreakmanX at hotmail.com, and ICQ 14009569. Yeah, we've never had this many listeners before, so I hope the server can take it. So Greg, why don't you tell us about Halo 2?
Well, Halo 2 is everything that Halo has and more. Hopefully folks have been able to see the video we posted on the internet showing some of the demo that we were doing at E3. We're hoping it lives up to the hype that it's Halo 1 wrapped in bacon and fried in butter. It's got tons of new features, and we really hope that the fans like it.
All right, yeah, awesome. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see the wonderful Halo 2 video, but I had a chance to see both IGN and GameSpot's version of the video, and I must say, I think that, as compared to sliced bread, I think Halo 2 will actually take over that title. I think from now on people say, well, that's the best thing since Halo 2, because it is damn fine looking, very smooth, very wonderful. I think you all should buy it. Oh, Greg, by the way, when's my check from old Bill coming?
The check is on the way. I wasn't sure if you wanted to announce msbreakmanx.com, but yeah, we really appreciate you letting us take over the site.
Yeah. Selling out's wonderful, isn't it? So Richie and Shadow, what do you think of the Halo 2 video?
Congratulations, and hope things progress with Halo 2. Got to see the demo and was thoroughly impressed. But got one question for you from E3, and I'm usually a big Unreal Tournament fan, and I'd probably be playing it right now, but I'm addicted to Battlefield 1942. But back to the point, I just wanted to get your impressions of Unreal Tournament 2004 and how it stacks up to 2003.
I saw a sneak peek. The video was running a brief preview of Unreal Tournament 2004, and it's got a lot of impressive new features. The environments looked really good. They've added some vehicles, flying vehicles as well. And one interesting bit of news was that they announced that there would be some kind of rebate or discount for Unreal Tournament 2003 owners, which I thought was very cool of them to do.
It is very cool indeed.
I just wanted to announce something really quick about the show. It looks like people are having connection troubles because of the overwhelming amount of listeners we're having. I greatly apologize for this. I guess when we weren't ready to handle all of these listeners. That'll definitely be, fixed for future shows, but we've just got so many listeners out there. If you're having a problem listening, please message me. But this will be available in MP3 format after the show, and you can keep writing in your questions and things like that, and we can, and then you can still hear them on the MP3. So really sorry about that, that you guys keep losing connection. But yeah, Shadow, go ahead and ask about Halo 2.
Well, I saw that preview, that demo that we got, was fun, unbelievable. Just looking at it and watching it was awesome. I have quite a few questions for Greg to ask him about the whole Halo 2 trailer. One thing I want to know, I'll understand if you can't answer some of this stuff because it's top secret or stuff like that. But one thing I wanted to know about was the air combat in the multiplayer and how much it'll be supported by in multiplayer, and like how many air vehicles you plan on adding into the multiplayer.
Well, yeah, unfortunately there's a few things I can't talk about. Multiplayer is a big area that we're still being kind of quiet on. One thing I can... Sorry about that, I got cut off. There are some new vehicles planned. I can't really give specifics other than the ones we've announced already, like the ATV and the Snowhog. If it's any sort of consolation, Halo PC does offer flying combat through Banshees and multiplayer. So, you can extrapolate from that maybe what Halo 2 is going to have as well.
Wow, awesome. Sorry, I gotta break in here. Roroni Trelane says, "You sellout. I save your soul by chopping your head off before it becomes any more tainted." Wow.
Yeah, I got a call from the snipers. If he could stand by the window and just be really still for a second, we'll take care of that right away.
Yeah, so Roroni, just stand by the window there and be really still, and you'll be out of your misery before long. But yeah, damn, that sounds awesome. So we're going to be able to have flying vehicles in multiplayer on Halo for PC. That sounds great. I actually hadn't heard that before. Are there going to be any new maps or any other kind of new features on the PC version?
Yeah, the folks at Gearbox who are doing the port have done a great job with making new levels. We had 2 of their levels playable on the E3 show floor. We were doing multiplayer tournaments for Halo PC right there on the show floor with a couple of the new maps and some of their new gun designs. And the stuff they've done is just really impressive. I think Halo fans from the Xbox, new PC fans, are really going to like what they've done with the port.
All right, great. Gonna move on here. Grundy of the forums asks, I was hoping that you would ask about support for high definition and what mode it would support up to, and how much of the original Halo multiplayer will be there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't talk too much about multiplayer other than, obviously there will be multiplayer. It will be on Xbox Live. And I also don't think any announcements have been made yet regarding high def, so I wouldn't want to speak out of turn on that either.
All right. Yeah, and he's been given some pretty strict guidelines of what he can and can't say by the Bungie execs, so please excuse him on that. But we'll still get a lot of great information on him. DreamCube Boy asks if there is a planned PC release for Halo 2 or if it is Xbox exclusive.
Just like with Halo, it's going to be Xbox exclusive, at least for some period of time. I don't believe any announcements have been made on a PC or a Mac port, and we'll probably table that decision until later.
All right. Evil Magic Pirate wants to know, and I know you weren't at Bungie actually before the takeover, but he wants to know if there was a pay increase when Microsoft bought Bungie. Don't need a specific wage, just if there was any kind of a change. He also wants to know if there's any kind of changes taking place when Microsoft bought Bungie, and if any restrictions Microsoft lays down before you guys make a game or during a game, or basically just how much control they have on the process. I know it'd be hard for you to ask those other questions since you weren't there during the takeover, but does Microsoft, have they ever tried to modify anything you put in a game, or is it pretty much whatever you guys want you can do?
I'd say in general they have a pretty hands-off approach to Bungie, which is really cool. I think they run a lot of their studios that way. So FASA and the folks making Mythica, they pretty much treat us like independent game companies, just housed under the Microsoft roof. So we don't really get any mandates from them. Ed doesn't really try to force his will upon any of the products or anything like that. It's really a great relationship.
Wow, I'd say so. That sounds about just how you'd want it. You get all the, good stuff from being together with Microsoft, and then they don't put any controls on you. So it seems that's pretty much the way you'd want it. He also wanted to know what kind of educational background you have, like what college you went to, and things like that, and also how you got started into the gaming industry.
Well, even though I wasn't a part of Bungie during the original purchase, I am from the Chicago area. I went to Northern Illinois University, and oddly enough, I have an art degree. I actually started off in video games back when Viacom still had a video game division, working out of Chicago, and my first few games I actually worked as an artist, and kind of taught myself how to program, and some really smart programmers took me under their wing and trained me a little bit, and worked myself up into a programming role.
Awesome. Really cool. So you taught yourself. I heard that you worked on some Nickelodeon SNES games. Is that correct?
Yeah. About the time I was at Viacom, they were making a lot of the early SNES Nickelodeon titles, and I worked on one of those for an old game show they had for kids called Guts. It's an old SNES card, probably pretty hard to find. I don't think it did very well when it came out. But yeah, I did background art and animation on that title.
Oh yeah, man. We were of that generation. We all know what that's all about. So a little bit of nostalgia for us. So that's cool. Evil Magic Pirate says he hopes to one day follow in your footsteps. So he wants to know if he has any tips for you on how to get into the industry and basically to get into a job similar to yours. Just basically any tips you can give him.
So you're breaking up there, but I think the question was about breaking into the industry. In general, I think that the way you present yourself and any type of demo or work you can show is really going to help. I mean, education gets you a long way, but really showing that you know what you're doing with a demo product or maybe a shareware title you put together with some friends, that sort of stuff really shows what you're capable of, and it'll really get your attention, or get the attention of some people at different companies.
Cool. Yeah, my upload is pretty much completely taken by this show right now, so I'm coming across okay to you guys, I think, but for some reason, for these guys, it's breaking up a bit. We didn't expect to have this great of a response to this, so I guess we'll have to keep going. And remember, this show will be up in MP3 format afterwards, and we will ask all your questions that you write in, and that'll be available, so you won't have to mess with all this breakup and stuff like that. So, again, I apologize for that, but we didn't realize just how many listeners we would be having, and we thank you for all your support, and we're going to work on getting something to let this not happen in the future. But thanks for listening. Evil Magic Pirate also found out about your upcoming book. Anything you can tell us about that? I mean, that's pretty cool. You're writing the book on game programming.
Yeah, I helped out with some of the Game Programming Gems series books, submitting some small chapters for those, and then the opportunity came along to do a terrain programming book for Charles River Media, and I was really excited to do it. It was a lot of work, but it's really rewarding to have a book out there. I just hope it's received well. We'll see what people think of it when it's out. I think it comes out in June.
Awesome. So all you aspiring game programmers, Evil Magic Pirate included, make sure you check out Greg's new book. You can find it at Amazon.com. And like he said, it should be coming out in June. We'd all also like to know, could you walk us through a standard day in the office? Or maybe even, he also says maybe even several days, like one from early development, where they are brainstorming, mid-development when they are coding, and late development where they are hitting bugs, or when they've finished the engine but still waiting for the artists to make content. I think we'd all be interested to hear about that.
Yeah, so a typical day is really just us kind of palling around the office and getting things done. We are on some schedules. We do meet weekly to go over those, so there is a professional angle to, putting out a title like Halo. Especially it's a large group of programmers. It's probably the largest group I've ever worked with. But they're all really dedicated guys, and they're all pretty much the top in their field, so it's really rewarding that way. But yeah, we kind of hammer through the day and get by with what we need to get done.
Cool. He also wondered, I know you didn't work on the original Halo, but I think he's meaning Halo 2. What part of Halo 2 are you working on? From the book, we'd guess that it'd be the terrain engine.
No, I'm not working on terrains for Halo 2. I'm in charge of the animation system, everything involved with the getting content from the artists in the game and the... Sorry, I got cut off there for a second. The animation playback system, that's all what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. So, cool. Sounds like a pretty cool job there. Evil Magic Pirate also wanted to know what websites you frequent besides BreakmanX.com and what movies, TV, music, etc. you like. Do you have a favorite game, or what are you currently playing, has played recently, etc.?
Unfortunately, with the E3 deadline we just went through, we were working pretty much around the clock with Bungie. So I haven't had a ton of time to play a lot of the most recent titles, which is really unfortunate. I'm kind of hoping now that the show's over to catch up with a lot of great games that I've missed. As far as the other questions go, my TiVo's full of cartoons. That kind of tells you a little bit about me. It's full of Simpsons and South Park and Cowboy Bebop and a lot of stuff on Adult Swim. So it's kind of sad when your TiVo tells you that you're 5 years old, but it's fun.
Wow, it sounds like if I had a TiVo, what my TiVo would be like. I'm still I record things onto my computer and then on VHS, so it seems pretty similar in that regard. He also wanted to know which consoles you own and which you think are the best. He wants to know the reasons why you think this, and he also wanted to know if you enjoy playing your own games that you've worked on as much as other people's.
So the only console I have right now is the Xbox, and that was a decision I made, before getting a job with Bungie. I was really excited about Xbox when it was announced. I do think it's the best hardware platform out there, but I know folks have their favorite games on different consoles, so other consoles certainly have their appeal. Other than that, I'm a big GBA player. I've been playing through Sonic Advance 2, and that's been a lot of fun. That was my big distraction on my trip to E3, was keeping my GBA charged up and ready to go.
Awesome. So you have an SP then?
And what's that? Oh, no, I don't have an SP. I actually voided my warranty and installed an Afterburner kit before the SP came out. I was way too anxious to have a backlit screen.
All right, cool. Go ahead and finish up your last answer. All right. What are your specs on your computer at home and work, and what kind of internet connection do you have both at home and work?
So I caught part of that question. I'm sorry, you're breaking up a lot now. Computer specs and internet connection are pretty basic. I have a basic Pentium 4, about 300 megahertz here at home. Nice web connection. Nothing really to brag about, but it gets me by.
All right, cool. So, what kind of do you have a different connection than at work?
Well, at home I have a DSL. At work we're just kind of in the Microsoft network, so we're kind of beholden to whatever sort of connection Microsoft can get out the wall to us. But it's pretty zippy. We're just behind a pretty heavy firewall there.
All right. EMP also wanted to know if you'd met either Bill Gates or Steve Ballmer.
Hang on a second. Richie just caught me. I said 300 megahertz P4. I'm sorry. It's 2.4 gigahertz is what I meant to say.
All right, badass. Thanks.
Now, I'm sorry, Break. What was the next question?
Have you ever met Bill or Steve Ballmer? Bill Gates or Steve Ballmer?
No, I haven't met him. I have gone to some Q&As that Bill has given to the entire MGS crew, so I have been in the Master's presence. Steve has not made appearance as far as I know. Bill did tour the Bungie offices before I was hired, so I'm hoping he'll do that again. I would like to meet him.
Cool. And Ronnie Trelane was wondering if he could meet him as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure security would allow that to happen.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I'd allow it to happen either. X wanted to know if the Halo 2 E3 trailer will be released anytime on the internet.
Yeah, right now we just have, I think, some shaky cam footage from the big announcement that's out there right now. I think once everybody gets back to the office, we're going to work on putting together a better video. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but I believe it's planned.
All right. Awesome. A bunch of people asked that. So, someone also wants to know: will commandering be an all-time feature in Halo 2 or scripted, and you will be able to perform it, and on which vehicles? I think Bungie actually already commented and said this wasn't scripted, but is that true?
Yeah, what we showed at E3 was definitely not scripted. That was live gameplay that one of three people at Bungie were demoing. They were kind of taking turns. But yeah, it's all boarding is actually an active thing you can do in the game. You can do it to any slow-moving vehicle, as far as I know. And yeah, it's definitely not just scripted sequence stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the coolest part of the trailer. I remember hearing people cheer like mad when that came up. That's just an absolutely awesome feature, and can't wait to get to play it. In the E3 2000 demo, we saw some amazing things. One was Marines driving. Were these Marines using AI to drive or scripted? And I think I also already heard this was all AI driven. Is that true?
Yeah, the AI has been completely rewritten. Those are AI actors driving the vehicles. They're aware of obstacles. They can avoid obstacles. They have a set of targets to drive to. Plus, they'll react to the player in a certain way to steer the car. It's really very impressive to see it all in action.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed seeing that driver while the player was in the firing on the rocket launcher, I believe it was, or the artillery. It was just amazing because it actually would slow down and speed up and kind of maneuver along with what you needed to do. That really impressed me. And he just says, was anything in the E3 demo scripted? And it doesn't look like anything was.
No. The demo that folks are seeing on the internet opens and closed with a cinematic. It's pretty obvious when gameplay takes over. But then the large middle section of the demo is all live gameplay.
Awesome. Yeah, that wow. I'm just sorry that video was just awesome. It just kind of blows my mind just to think about how cool it was. The brute that caught the 3-hit combo, he just stood there like an idiot. Was this simply to show off the 3-hit melee, or will he be smarter in the final product? And this is by the same person as the scripting questions.
Yeah, the brutes are definitely going to be a main opponent. They're going to be very intelligent. We did want to show off some different things. The brutes were somewhat limited at E3, but I think in the final game, people are going to have their pants scared off them by the brutes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they looked pretty scary, and once they get the more enhanced AI as you talked about, they'll be even better. Master Chief never reloads the SMGS. Do they have a hefty clip, or is it too early to add in reload animations? I actually thought I saw him reload it once, but I could have been mistaken.
You're talking about reloading the dual SMGs? I didn't quite catch that.
He says the SMGS. I'm assuming he means the dual SMGs, though.
Yeah, so they function just like any other weapon. They have to be reloaded. They have a certain amount of ammo. They function off of the right-left triggers. So they pretty much behave just like any other weapon.
Cool. What's the official name for that big Covenant tank we saw, the one that Master Chief blows up about 4 times? New improved Wraith? Sorry, we got broke up there a little bit. What's the official name for that big Covenant tank we saw, the one that MC blows up about 4 times? A new improved Wraith?
I think you're talking about the Phantoms that fly in at the end of the demo.
It's actually a user question. I think that's what he's talking about.
We didn't really have any Covenant tanks in the demo. There's a couple of big Phantom vehicles that fly in at the end that the brutes drop out of. Those are the new vehicles he might be talking about.
Yeah, those. I'm guessing that's what he's talking about. Finally.
Oh, you know what? I just realized. I just realized what he's talking about. He's talking about the troop transport vehicles that the Master Chief blows up from the back of the new Warthog. We're calling those the Creeps. Those are Covenant troop deployment vehicles.
Oh, cool. Cool name. Finally says, to give all of us Bungie addicts an idea of what to shoot for, how complete was the game's engine and graphics when it was presented at E3?
Well, I think part of the demo, speaks for itself. It's pretty darn complete. It's at a very playable state. The graphics are pretty far along, yeah, I think it's well underway.
A guy named MacFan would like to know how Halo for the Mac is coming.
I haven't seen it personally. I know it's set for release alongside Halo PC, and I'm told the two will be interconnected, so Halo PC players and Halo Mac players can join and play online together, which is really exciting. But I have not seen the demo myself, so I can't really comment on it.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, I've always, I don't know, that's really nice you guys are doing that, have the inter-platform playability. There's no chance that the consoles will be able to play with those, right?
I don't think so. I'm not sure we can reach out through Xbox Live and bring in PC players.
All right, that's cool. Still, that's awesome that you get to play Mac and PC guys together. I can just see the fights erupting between the two. All right, moving through some more questions. Those were all from a guy named Dozy from the forums. Duncan says, as a programmer on a game with fantastic graphics, I'm guessing you use a lot of 3D mathematics. I'm assuming that in a reasonably large team, not everyone is proficient with hardcore 3D math. So how much of a programmer's time is spent writing tools for other programmers to use and not worry about the 3D math behind it all?
All the programmers on Halo are pretty up to date on math and geometry involved in 3D, so it's not really a task for us to make tools for each other to simplify. It's not really necessary for us to make tools to simplify that for each other. It's something we can all pretty much handle. We do make some pretty extensive tools for the artists and for the level designers so that they can do what they do best, which is work on making kick-ass environments and setting up the AI and the gameplay the way they need to without having to worry too much about the underlying engine.
Cool, so I guess everyone at Bungie is pretty proficient then. Reckless Ninja would like to know, it was Halo 1 was 10 massive levels with 4 difficulty options. How will Halo 2 compare in length/difficulty?
I can't really comment on that. I'm not sure that I have all that information available to me right now. I would guess it's going to be as big or bigger, and the difficulty levels will probably stay as well.
Just relating to that earlier math question, right now I'm in Algebra 2, and I plan to, in college, to go higher than Algebra 2 if I have the time, and the effort necessary. But I was curious as to what kind of math education would be necessary to go into the kind of graphical programming that you're into.
I would certainly recommend plenty of trigonometry and calculus. But bear in mind, I skated through college on an art degree and managed to pick up what I did through years in the industry. So it's not something that's totally inconceivable that someone without proficient math skills couldn't do really well in this industry.
Right, understood. Thanks.
That's really good to hear because I hate math. So it's good for all these out there who also hate math that might be possible to break into the industry even if you do. Chain Gunner asks, knowing that millions of people played Halo and almost everyone wants Halo 2 and expects it to be 100 times better, what kind of daily pressures do you go through to make the game the best it can be? Do you have deadlines that you have to meet weekly or monthly?
So the pressure is huge. I mean, we certainly understand that there's a lot of people anticipating Halo 2 that are anticipating it being, several notches higher than Halo 1 was, and, we're rising up to that task. As far as any sort of deadlines go, we set our own deadlines based on when we want to show things to the press, where we want to be in the product. So they're not really weekly or monthly. We get together weekly to discuss them, but we we'll set a deadline a few months out so that we have plenty of time to work towards it.
All right. So keeping right on time there. Yeah, we've got a few listener questions we've gotten here right on the air. Roroni Trelane asks, what do you feel was wrong with Halo 1 that you are that Bungie as a whole was fixing in Halo 2?
Well, I don't think that there's any harder critics of Halo 1 than the guys at Bungie. They were very disappointed with a few angles of that game. And I know I've heard from a lot of fans that, the environments could use a little bit of sprucing up, and that's something that we've definitely tackled in Halo 2, making sure that we have a lot of unique environments. There's not any sort of repetition in the landscape or in the environments you're going to walk through, and that it stays engaging and fun throughout the entire game.
Wow. As you know, you've been listening to the show a while, Greg. It seems like the very issue that I had with Halo is going to be fixed for Halo 2, so it may very well be the perfect FPS for me if that's what they're going after. We also got a question from Rusty H20 Stud. He was asking if there's going to be a high-res version of the demo movie. We've already gone through that. So it'll be available sometime, we expect. He asks, with the brutes, will you use that awesome hair effect that Xbox can render?
Oh, so the question about the brute's hair, we're doing something kind of proprietary for the brutes to make them look as fuzzy and as furry as possible. It's not truly the Xbox hair effect that I think has been pretty well documented and a lot of other game companies are using. We've kind of come up with our own scheme that works really well for us and has a little bit higher performance than a traditional hair effect does.
All right. Weezer Jedi wants to know. He wants to know how many multiplayer levels Halo 2 will have, and I know this is kind of a multiplayer's kind of a hush-hush subject right now. So, but I thought I'd ask you anyway.
Yeah, I can't really speak to the number of levels. I have a feeling that we'll just keep packing in as many as we can get done in time for ship.
Cool. Weezer Jedi also asks, he asks, what exactly does Mr. Snook do at Bungie? What team are you a part of?
So I've been on the Halo 2 since about, I'd say about a month before E3. I've worked at Bungie for a little over a year. I was on something I can't really speak about before that, and then joined the Halo team before E3. Like I said before, my responsibilities, I'm a programmer on the team. I'm responsible for the animation system and the art pipeline, trying to replace the hideous Halo 1 cinematics with something that's a little bit more free-flowing. And that's really it. I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to see your work on that, man. Reckless Ninja 1 asks, are there any new types of weapons or grenades?
Well, at E3 we showed the dual SMGs, and that's the big deal in new weapons. Not only are the SMGs new, but the fact that we can dual fist any two weapons right now in any combination is really the big coup for Halo 2. I know in the demo we really only showed two SMGs, but in the game you can hold two weapons of any type, fire them independently, and maintain both sets of ammo. So it really is going to add a whole new level of depth to the gameplay.
Well, Greg, I know when Richie and I played through Halo 2 together, I remember he probably, I probably couldn't count how many times I always wanted to use the energy swords that some of the Covenants use. Is there any way that there's somehow that we get the Master Chief one of those things? I mean, I love those things.
Yeah, we've heard that from the fans for quite a while, and I think there's some old either E3 or Macworld footage of early Halo demos that showed the Master Chief using the energy sword. So I'll certainly bring that up in the office and see what we can do about that.
Awesome. So Shadow's request may be answered, because that would be awesome. All right, Reckless Ninja also asks, I heard some of the weapons will have modifications. What sort of changes have been made to the weapons? I think specifically referring to the modifications.
So as far as weapon modifications go, we've got some new weapon designs. Really can't speak anymore about that other than what was shown in the E3 demo. I didn't catch all the question, but just to summarize, we've got some new weapons. We've got the dual-fisted weapons, which are the really big change, and everything about Halo 2 is being revised from Halo 1. So you'll see even some of the standard weapons you remember from Halo 1 are getting a new treatment and a little higher definition for Halo 2.
Grundy Thompson would like to know if there's any downloadable content for Halo 2 that'll be supported.
Yeah, I can't really speak about that too much. We're definitely going to be on Xbox Live, and there's a lot of bells and whistles that come with Xbox Live that we're going to try to take advantage of. But as far as definite plans go right now, I really can't announce anything here.
All right, cool. Reckless Ninja also wants to know, I have seen concept art for grunts and large canisters on their backs labeled as carriers. Will these make it into the final game, and will they act as suicidal bombs per se and run at Master Chief until they explode?
I'm sorry, Break. You're really breaking up on me now. The suicidal bomb question. I'm not sure where that came from. I don't believe there's any plans for any sort of suicidal bombing characters like you had in Serious Sam, if that's what the listener was getting at.
All right, I actually hadn't seen that concept art, but he said that there was something on the back of the grunts that looked like some sort of a suicidal bomb, and it was labeled as carrier on the artwork.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave that up to his imagination from the concept art that he saw. I really don't want to verify anything like that. I'll get my ass handed to me at work if I unveil anything.
All right, well, we'll try to make sure that doesn't happen. Odd Skater for Hire says he wanted to know, with all the graphics going on, what was the average frame rate through the Halo 2 demo?
Well, I'll let the demo speak for itself. It holds frame rate incredibly well for the amount of work that we're doing with the new graphics engine and the new lighting engine and all the shadows that are in there. I think people's concerns about the original Halo unveiling back at E3 2001, I believe, people kind of came out and said that there might have been some frame rate problems there. I think we put all those concerns to rest with the latest demo.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't see any type of slowdown at all.
Right, Greg, we all know that you're limited somewhat by your inability to mention too many details on the games you're working on right now. And I'd be curious to know if when you signed on at Bungie or when Microsoft took over Bungie, that you had to sign any legal form or waivers of any such, and if not, if so, what that include, and how close is the knife to your throat? I mean, how strict were your bosses on details that you can offer to us?
It's really not as overbearing as maybe I've made it sound like it's going to be. When you join Microsoft, just like any other company, you sign a certain number of non-disclosure agreements to make sure you're not going to release any company secrets or anything like that. And to some degree, arguably, features of Halo 2 are company secrets at this point because it's a ways from release. We were briefed going to E3 about what we should talk about and what we shouldn't talk about, and it's really not because we're trying to be secretive or anything like that. It's really because we want to make sure that we don't give out bad information, that I don't speak about features we're thinking about that don't make it into the final game and disappoint everybody. So it's really just for our own protection that we only speak about what's in the E3 demo and what kind of features we can guarantee at this time.
All right, cool. That's understandable. I think everyone can understand that viewpoint.
All right, well, Greg, when I was watching the E3 demo, I noticed that Cortana, the computer core of the ship that was downloaded into Master Chief's suit at the beginning of Halo, it seemed like in this game she has a bit more of like a bigger role. I mean, one point in the demo when you were shooting somewhere else, she actually notifies you that she says, I believe she says ghost in your left, and she kind of seems like she has more of a role this time. Like like if you're not looking one way, she'll tell you if something is coming at you. Is that more of a tutorial kind of thing since the beginning of the game, maybe, or is that kind of a thing that you're going to try to continue throughout the game?
I'm not too sure if Cortana is going to have any sort of tutorial role. What we showed in the demo was sort of the conversational quality that Cortana and Master Chief are capable of, and that she really can be just an extra set of eyes on the battlefield and can alert you to given situations. And in E3 we tried to show that by having Cortana alert you to different things that were happening on the battlefield that maybe you wouldn't notice because your eyes were drawn somewhere else. And in that regard, having Cortana in your head with you is a great asset to the game.
Yeah, it sounded like she had a more vital role. Like she said, ghosts off to your left or whatever, and it just seemed like she was. It just seemed like she was more in your head and helped you out more than she did in the original Halo. Just like she has a much more active role.
We all really like the voice of Cortana having more of an active role in the game. There's also, you may have noticed in the demo, the Marines communicate a little bit more, both verbally on the battlefield and sometimes through some headset chatter that you pick up. I think there's a spot on the first balcony there where one of the Marines alerts you to enemies being on your right-hand side. That's just an example of kind of the communication that we're hoping to use throughout the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been a sucker for that kind of stuff. It just helps me get into the game a lot more when it's just so much more, realistic just around you with that kind of war surrounding with people saying stuff like that. And the chatter was great. I have to admit it really brought a smile to my face, and I know it did to a bunch of other people. Really great job on that. And one thing I noticed, something that I noticed is that when I was watching it, it looks like one of the medics is declaring a guy dead. He looks at his watch and says, "I'm calling it at 1500 or something." Is that just kind of a one-time deal, or will that be more in the game? Because I just thought it was really cool.
Oh, well, that's part of the opening sequence that's setting up that level of the game. That the original CP has been killed, and now the next guy is in charge is pinned down in front, and Perez walks you up there, and then that's really where the gameplay takes over.
Still very cool. I thought that was a really nice touch. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's just some of the immersiveness that we're going to have, in the battle scenes where there's some conversations that you'll have with guys. You'll get briefed on the current situation, and then that conversation is going to continue during the live game as well, through the headset chatter and through guys that you meet on the battlefield.
Cool. Yeah, that was one thing that really impressed me. I mean, obviously, when you see the graphics and things like that, that's the first thing that's really going to jump out at people, and you can say, "Wow, that's awesome," and the sound and stuff like that. But just the amount of immersion you guys put in, just with Cortana talking to you, and then all the people running around doing things, and them talking to you. I mean, a lot of people said that it looked like they were watching a movie, and I had to agree with it. I mean, it was just, I don't know. I don't know. Halo 2 is just looking to be so awesome, and just everything about it looks great. And just sorry for the breakups we're having here. It's just because so many people are listening to the show. But remember, we will have an MP3 on BreakmanX.com after this is done, and so you can download that after this, and be able to listen to the whole thing then. Keep sending in your questions and comments. We're really enjoying them. Rusty H20 Stud says, in Halo 1 it was 5.1 DD, but most of the time it only used 4.1. Will Halo 2 use 5.1 the whole game during it?
Yeah, I'm not sure that any definite plans have been made, but I don't think that Marty O'Donnell, our resident audio guru, and Jay, I don't think they'll stand for anything less.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it, man. Avalanche GenieX says, I have a question that he probably won't be allowed to answer, but here goes. E3 demo looks pretty amazing for being about 8 months off. And the delay to 2004 based around optimizing the multiplayer, and if not, what is the biggest reason for the delay?
So the reason for the delay is that we just didn't want to rush the game out in order to meet a holiday schedule. We really want to take our time with this game, and Microsoft's affording us the schedule and really working with us, you know, very well to let us finish this game when it's done. And that's really our message, is that we're going to take our time, we're going to make Halo 2 the game we want it to be, and then we're going to release it for everybody to enjoy. We really don't want to rush it out the door.
Yeah, that was one thing I was really impressed with Bungie and Microsoft for allowing this extra time. Because I think we're going to get, I mean, from what it looks, we're just going to get an absolutely awesome game. And letting you guys have that much extra time to work on it and perfect it and just do whatever to it, I think is really going to make that much difference. And I don't know, I just thought it was really cool that much extra time is being spent. And I'm really looking forward to see the final product. Thanks for all the incoming questions. We're getting a lot of them. Reckless Ninja says, I've heard the live support will support 32 players, possibly even 64 players. Do you know if it will reach the 64-player powerhouse?
Yeah, we've heard a lot of things from the fans about what they'd really like to see on live, and we're taking them all into consideration, but I really can't talk too much about our multiplayer plans.
All right, that's cool. I'm going to take a look at the forums here because Richie reports that there have been many people posting questions on the forums, so we hope to get those answered. All right. Matt, I think that you've already answered this. When you answered MacFan's other question, but he wants to know, MacFans, the ones who got screwed when Bungie got bought out, want to know if Halo Mac will come out at the same time as Halo PC.
Yeah, Halo. If the question was about Halo Mac, it's coming out around the same time as Halo PC. I believe we're hoping for. Excuse me. I believe we're hoping for a simultaneous release, but I'm not sure exactly if that's going to happen. But yeah, they're both coming out around the same time frame. They'll both be out in time for the holiday season.
All right. So it looks like they're not going to get screwed, at least after then. MacFan also wants to know, why did the reflection map on Master Chief's face get changed from the original trailer to the E3 demo?
We're letting our artists have a lot of fun with the Master Chief design. I think they're going to try out a lot of things before we arrive at a final version. So I wouldn't read too much into what was on the visor for the E3 demo. Yeah,
I thought Master Chief looked mighty sexy myself. I am looking forward to see what kind of upgrades he gets or whatever, but I think he looked mighty sexy when we saw it last time. Guest writes, follow-up to last question. The original announcement trailer, the reflection map on MC's helmet was real-time. It has obviously been changed since then to look more orange/gold look without a real mirror. Mirror look to it as it had been in the announcement trailer. Why was that changed? Kind of similar to the other question.
Yeah, all I can really say about that is the original trailer was also real time, so there's really no concern about whether or not the visor is going to be reflective or not. I think for the E3 demo, we just went with what the artist decided looked best in that situation, and the gold visor was certainly a cool look that we wanted to try out.
Yeah, I thought it looked awesome too. I actually just got sent a question, and I don't know what Trillion's deal was, but it just took it off the screen real quick. I think I read enough of it to get it, though. I didn't see who it was from, though. So if I'm asking your question and it seems similar to your question, go ahead and send it to me again, and maybe we can ask it correctly. But I believe he was talking something. Oh, here we go. He just sent it again. Odd Skater for Hire says, Halo had computer-controlled players, all of which were civilian/scientist type people, or combat marines. Will there be any sort of medic for Halo 2 that can allow your fellow marines to heal people? And, yeah.
I can't really speak about the role of medics in the game. We did show some medics in the opening sequence of the trailer just to show that they do exist. But as far as where how they're going to be used in the gameplay, I don't want to speak out of turn and go into details on that, unfortunately. I know it's kind of disappointing for the listeners, but I really don't want to give out any sort of information before the designers at Bungie get a chance to speak about their own work.
No, that's cool. I think we all understand that. Reckless Ninja wants to know, will any multiplayer levels make a return in Halo 2, such as the infamous Blood Gulch?
I love Blood Gulch. I don't know why it's become infamous. I think the Red vs. Blue guys did a great job of sending up Blood Gulch, but it really is a fun map. Whether or not those maps appear as is or not, I really can't say, but we are planning quite a few multiplayer maps. I wouldn't be surprised if some old favorites, show up again.
All right. Going back to the forums here and ask a couple. Will the infamous hog jumping that was allowed in the first Halo still be intact? I guess what I mean is most of the vehicles look destructible. Will the hog be destructible as well, or will we be able to still test out the crazy physics of the Halo engine?
Yeah, I don't think anybody at Bungie wants to take away from the ability to make those awesome physics videos. Those things crack us up every time we see them. We do have the ability to blow parts off of the vehicles, Warthogs included, but I think we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that those awesome Warthog jumps are still possible.
All right, hey Greg, I've got a question. Since in the single player mode that it's going to be taking place on Earth this time, will there be some familiar kind of like levels? Like you could have a level, I don't know, like at some national monuments or around them, or something creative like that, or any like, I don't know, kind of like famous places that we would know? Or are you going to try to stick with more like unfamiliar places since it is set in the future and it's not, determine whether those things would still be around?
Well, I don't want to give away too much of the storyline about exactly what locations you're going to visit. I think our map designers are going to have a lot of fun making futuristic Earth cities. Whether or not there'll be some things there that you recognize from present-day Earth, I'm really not sure. But I think the environments that we're going to make are going to be captivating on their own, even if we don't go for that, Planet of the Apes shot of the Statue of Liberty or anything recognizable like that.
All right. Jack Burton posted this on the Xbox board as well, so maybe some of them will come in. If you're just coming into the broadcast, sorry about it breaking up. We're just having so many people listen to it that the server can't quite handle to send out all this data. We're working on getting this fixed for like the next show or something like that. Thanks for listening and thanks for being so patient. This will be available as an MP3 after the show is done, so you can always download it that way. Keep sending in your questions and comments as we will listen to them on the air, and thank you for listening live. Jack Burton asks, let's see. He said, is the multiplayer facet of Halo 2 even being worked on yet?
Oh, sure. The entire game is in development, and that includes multiplayer. We've had a ladder tournament running in the office that's been a lot of fun to test out some of the early multiplayer stuff. So, yeah, it's well underway.
All right. Can't wait to play it. He kind of similar to the 32 or 64 question. Are they shooting for 32-player matches over Xbox Live or just 16?
So as far as the exact player count on Live, I'm not sure I'm at liberty to say. Let me just say in general, though, that some of these questions that I've had to dodge today, I'll revisit with the folks at Bungie and maybe answer those in the forums.
Awesome. So keep coming back to the forums, and he'll be able to answer some of your questions there. He's Mighty Bean on the forums, just so you all know. Jack Burton also wants to know if they know anything about dedicated servers for Halo 2 over Xbox Live. He wants me to mention how big of a problem it is with games like Unreal Championship or Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
So we're certainly using those games as a guide to see how well they perform. We want to make sure that our multiplayer is top notch. Unfortunately, again with multiplayer, I can't speak too much about it. Hopefully that's something I can revisit in the forums once I get back to the office on Monday and talk over some of these questions with the guys there.
All right. He wants to know how small Ed Freeze actually is. And I'd like to know, have you met Ed Freeze?
Yeah, Ed's a big presence at Microsoft. I was actually really impressed the first time Ed came through. He knows a lot of folks at Bungie on a first name basis, and I thought that was really impressive. He's a very approachable guy and a really nice guy to have heading up studios. And no, he's not all that small at all. I think he's probably taller than I am.
All right, cool. Yeah, he looked like a pretty cool guy on the Microsoft press conference. He also wants to know if there will be a cooperative mode, if it'll still just be 2-player co-op, or if it'll be more. And ask him if we'll be able to do co-op over System Link or Xbox Live. I have to admit, I've been wondering this as well, too, because co-op is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, we know that co-op's a blast. Unfortunately, over Live is something I can't really comment on right now. But I can pretty much say that co-op's going to be part of the game because we realize how much fun that is, and we love to play it ourselves.
Awesome. Yeah, that's about my favorite part of Halo 1. Will Halo 2 have widescreen support?
Yeah, I think did this question come up earlier? I'm not too sure what our exact plans are for high def, but we realize that it's something that folks want and probably won't expect too much less. So, I can assume it's going to be there, but I can't make any promises at this time.
All right. Tinchy Jeff asks if there are any new aliens, and if so, can you tell us about them?
So the aliens we were showing at the E3 demo, we showed the new brutes, we showed the hunters. I'm not sure if, the jackals. I'm not sure if folks got a good look at those in the video. They sort of line up in front of one of the last creeps that you fight and march towards you in formation, which is another new thing in Halo 2, that the enemies can form up into ranks and make some intelligent group decisions that way. Those are really the only new aliens that we're speaking about at this time, but we've got many more planned.
I heard that formation type thing, it's completely AI, and they make that decision based on how many of their friends they have around them and things like that. So is that completely AI driven and kind of situation based?
Yeah, the folks doing, the programmer doing the AI stuff is really doing some amazing work with the new driving Marines, the driving grunts, and the formations. It is something that's going to happen, naturally on the battlefield. They're gonna come up into ranks. They're gonna try to flank you. It's really going to be a lot more involving to get yourself through a battlefield intact with these guys working so intelligently to stop you.
All right. Awesome. I thought that was really cool when I saw them line up like that. It almost, I don't know, it makes those small guys even kind of a formidable foe. Odd Skater for Hire asks, will the game feature a death physics engine similar to the Karma Ragdoll in Unreal Tournament 2003?
I didn't catch that question, Bray. Can you type that one out to me in the chat here? Oh yeah, we have a lot of new physics coming in with Halo 2. Not only the vehicle physics that folks are used to, which are also being enhanced, but plenty of humanoid physics, what a lot of people refer to as the ragdoll stuff. Going to be a big part of Halo 2, and really bring a lot more life to the battlefields, which I'm really looking forward to.
Cool. A lot of new physics stuff coming. Jack Burton also wants to know who the best multiplayer guy is, both one-on-one and FFA at Bungie.
So we have quite a few good players at Bungie, as you can imagine. I'm not sure that there's really one person that rises to the top. In the ladder tournament that we have, I'm not sure who's ranking top right now. Myself and my partner, Joe Staten, are really getting our asses kicked, and we're down towards the bottom of the ranking. So, as you can imagine, the folks who make the maps and the folks who really know how the game works backwards and forwards, and who have been playing it, since before the game came out, are just awesome Halo players.
I'm pretty sure I'd really get my ass handed to me there. That'd be, wow, I'd get my ass kicked. Reckless Ninja wants to know, Halo 2 seems too excellent. The whole ninjas on fire quote is an understatement. Bungie should release a statement saying they are not responsible for seizures or mental instability due to excessive gameplay, adrenaline overload, extreme happiness, or loss of social life. Yeah, I must say that trailer made me drunk with joy. I mean, just the trailer. So, wow. I just want to know, how much have you played? Have you played Halo 2? And if so, how much?
Well, obviously the E3 demo we played through, backwards and forwards for hours on end, making sure that it was ready for E3. There were a lot of sleepless nights preparing for the conference. In addition to that, I can't really speak about other maps, but we definitely have a few that we play around the office, and they're coming along really quite well. The game's a lot of fun already, and we still have plenty of time to tweak it and make it perfect before we release it to the public.
Greg, I'd be curious to know, you were talking about these guys who have been playing Halo since before the game was released, before anybody in the public could start getting good at it. And I'd be curious if any of these guys who know Halo backwards and forwards have ever tried to get into tournaments or win contests or prizes or whatever. And I'd also like to know if Microsoft or Bungie had limitations on these guys to have what kind of events they could participate in, seeing that they have inside knowledge of Halo.
No, I don't think there's any real legal limitations that Microsoft would place on us from participating in any sort of tournament. I would imagine that tournaments might have rules barring us from entering. But I think just out of sheer professionalism, I don't think the guys from Bungie would ever enter into a tournament and try to take a prize from one of our fans. I think that would just be really unprofessional of us to do that. Even at E3, there were a few places holding Halo tournaments for T-shirts and things like that on the show floor that, although it's tempting to step in there and try to school some people, it just wouldn't be very cool of us to do that.
Yeah, that's good, man. Thanks.
And also, I want to point out that I don't want to talk up the skills too much, because even there was a nationwide Halo tournament, I believe, last year, and when the final round was reached, and I think there was about 6 guys left, they invited the guys from Bungie to come down and challenge them, and they just got their asses kicked by these kids that had been playing in the tournament. So, as good as we may think we are, there's guys out there that are 10 times better.
Yeah, fully understood, man. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Shadow had a little problem there. Are you back with us, Shadow?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It looks like Jeffrey became angry at me and decided to kick me out. And then when Break wanted me to come back, it decided it still didn't like me and it didn't want me to come back again. So I had to restart, and I think it looks like we don't have any audio now. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Yeah, it looks like we lost the audio, which is wonderful. Yeah, so we're getting that back up. Remember, just send any of your questions right to me here at breakmanx@hotmail.com for MSN, and KU BreakmanX is AIM, and BreakmanX is Yahoo. So if you have any questions, just send them my way. All right. Hey, Greg, are you back there with us now? Greg, are you back there with us?
All right, I'm back. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank God. Sorry for that little technical shit fit. I think it has something to do with all the people connecting with my computer to download the show. Thanks a lot for listening. And sorry for the cutouts. Like I said before, that MP3 will be available after the show. Yeah, so I'm going to check the forums real quick, see if there's any more Halo 2 information anyone wants to know. Some more people are wondering about the light sword thing, which you talked about. But that's if you guys want to listen to the show. Someone asked that at the beginning. Is the yellow warthog shown in the E3 demo sign-on billboard going to show up in the final game? Will it have a plush interior and a fatty sound system? How much would one of those things run? From Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler asks, is the yellow warthog shown in the E3 demo, the sign on the billboard, going to show up in the final game? Will it have a plush interior and a fatty sound system? How much would one of those things run?
So what he spotted in the E3 demo was one of the billboards that our artist made to kind of liven up New Mombasa. I'd really love to see that warthog in the game. So, I don't know. We'll see what we can do about that, but I think that billboard's really there just for fun.
Alright, still kind of cool to have it in there. In the book Fall of Reach, there's a point in the story that explains the normal soldiers wouldn't have fast enough reflexes to use the Mjolnir, sorry, that's probably a terrible butchering of that word, armor. However, in the Halo 2 demo, you see ODST soldiers who seem to be using some of the MJOLNIR armor. Can you maybe elaborate on the type of armor that these ODSTs are using?
No, I'm afraid I really can't. The ODSTs made an appearance in the E3 demo. I can't really speak. The reader picked up on some things from that might give him some insight into it, but unfortunately I can't spill too many beans on the story right now.
Alright, quick question for you here. Will Halo 2 have support for user-imported soundtracks, or maybe multiplayer, kind of like the, Rockstar games, GTA 3, where you could import your MP3s and have them playing through a special radio station? Will anything be like that?
I'm not sure, actually. That hasn't come up yet, so I'm not really sure. Like I said at the top of the show, I've really only been on the team for a few weeks, so I'm not fully versed in all the exact plans for final release. I do think that'd be a great idea to put a custom radio station for that beefed-up yellow warthog to have its own little radio dial. So I'll definitely bring that one up at the office.
Yes, indeed, that would be badass. And yeah, look forward to that if it's featured. Thanks. We got another question in here from Dozy from the forums, and he says, just curious, what was the mood of the Bungie offices, if you were there when this happened, when the Halo hacking videos were released? I hope I didn't piss anyone off. And I don't know if your knowledge in what he's referring to there, but you have a response to that?
I'm not really too sure of exactly what videos he's talking about as far as Halo hacking videos go. But in general, I don't think that anybody at Bungie would be upset with any sort of fan-made video that folks are making out there. We certainly support folks putting the game through its paces and doing whatever they want with it. And even at the FanFest party that we had at E3, the guys from Red vs. Blue were there. And although I didn't get a chance to speak to them directly, they did make some requests of the animation system to try to make fan-made movies a little bit easier to make in Halo 2. And we're certainly listening to that. We're going to try to do what we can to help support that community.
That's another thing about
Very nice,
Bungie
very
that
nice,
really
man.
impressed me was just how nice.
Oh, I just saw.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just saw the chatted message about the video being about modded Xboxes. That's really taken matters into your own hands. I'm not sure what Microsoft's stance really is on modded Xboxes. I think they've been kind of tolerant of it up till now, trying to see what people can do with them. But making videos of it and stuff like that, I certainly wouldn't recommend.
Alright, one thing I have been really impressed with Bungie is just about their openness to the community. I mean, you're the one who told me about the Red vs. Blue videos, and I know you guys watched from the office and invited him to show it at E3. I just thought, I don't know, you guys have been really supportive of the fan community, and I think you just have to respect that.
Yeah, we really love that stuff. Whenever a new Warthog video comes out, or the Red vs. Blue guys have a new episode, we certainly check those out. And I missed it at the show, and I was really upset about it. But the Red vs. Blue guys made a special E3 episode for us to show at our FanFest party. I haven't checked their site to see if they're going to release that to the public, but I certainly hope that they do.
All right, Freeman from the forums asks, how will the sound improve in Halo 2? Halo 1 was awesome with just a perfect fitting soundtrack and all those hilarious things the Marines would say.
Well, all the same people are still involved with the audio, so, I can only surmise that it's going to be as good or better than Halo 1. Like I said before, we're our own harshest critics, and we've taken a good long look at Halo 1 and every possible way we can improve it, we are for Halo 2. That includes, graphics, AI, as well as audio. So I'm sure Marty's got big plans for the soundtrack, and, Joe's got a lot of great things in mind for the dialogue. I don't think folks are going to be disappointed at all.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like the Halo 1 soundtrack. In fact, I listened to it in my car on the way getting my Mr. Goodson sandwich. I wonder if anyone heard it since I had the windows down and such. X Halo HQ X says, will Halo 2 feature a map maker?
I'm not really sure I can comment on that. With the plans we have in mind, I'm not sure it's going to be feasible. We put so much work into our level designs. I'm not sure that there's a tool set we could release to the public to give them, the same kind of depth that we give them at the office. I think the focus right now is on us making the best levels we can make, and we'll certainly keep the mod community in mind when we start approaching release.
All right, Rusty20 Stud asks, how are you implementing Xbox's hard drive in Halo 2?
Well, we take full advantage of every piece of Xbox hardware. The hard drive is going to help us cut down on load times the same way it did in Halo 1, where moving from area to area in the game is going to be as seamless as possible. So yeah, we're definitely making use of everything about the Xbox, including the hard drive.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like Halo 2 is just shaping up to be just like I said, the next sliced bread. I'm really looking forward to it. I know if you've been listening to the show for a while, at first I didn't like Halo 1 very much. I mean, I didn't hate it, and now I'm starting to like it a little more, and after seeing the Halo 2 trailer, I just absolutely cannot wait. Rusty20 Stead asks, also, when Master Chief activates the plasma grenade, from now on, will it make that little power-up high-pitched sound?
Yeah, I kind of like that sound. We're gonna wait and see what fans say about the video, and sort of let their comments gauge where we take the game. But I have no problem with that sound. I certainly hope it stays.
I think it's cool too. Oh, and I was wondering also about the grenades. I've been playing Return to Castle Wolfenstein recently with Jack, and there's a way that you can hold, because it has a timer on it, and you can hold it for a while and then throw it, so it has a better chance of exploding when you want it to and killing the enemies you want it to. Will Halo 2 have any kind of a feature where you can hold it as the timer's going and then have it explode kind of when you want it to after you throw it?
I'm not sure what the designers have planned for the grenades. I know that wasn't certainly the case in Halo 1. We wanted folks to be able to hang onto a grenade as long as they felt they needed to aim it and then release it. And the timer kind of went off on the first time the grenade touched something. The timer would begin to tick and it would go off shortly after. We certainly don't want to make things that are too foreignly different for folks who are used to the Halo 1 grenades, but I'm sure the designers are going to revisit every facet of the game and do what's best, largely based on user feedback.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys also seem like you're doing a good job of that, taking in user feedback. Silent Assassin wants to know, I know you guys can't speak on most of the features of Halo 2 yet, but everyone who plays Halo 1's multiplayer knows that the pistol is the all-around best weapon. Personally, I think that it's a bit overpowered. Is there any plan to tone down the pistol at all?
I'm not sure. Again, that's another piece of user feedback that we're certainly taking to heart. I kind of like the pistol having the strength that it does, and I think it makes for some interesting pistol fights. I'm not sure that you really have to have that rock paper scissors between the different guns. They can all kind of have their own strengths and weaknesses, but yeah, we're certainly taking that concern to heart, that folks think the pistol is a little bit overpowered, and we may consider toning it down.
All right, Odd Skater for Hire asks, will night vision be available of the zoom of the sniper rifle?
Yeah, I can't comment on that. Sorry. Some of the new weapon designs we have in mind, I really don't want to disclose right now. Hopefully, there'll be some information about those new features forthcoming.
All right. Also, he wants to know possibly a thermal vision mode, and you probably can't comment on that either.
Yeah, I'm afraid that falls into the same category.
All right. Awesome. Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Halo 2. I'm just checking the forums, see if we have any new questions. Doesn't look like we have any new questions. Wow, we've really covered a lot about Halo 2. Is there anything you can think to add to this, Mighty Bean? Because a lot of people have asked some of the questions that I was going to ask.
No, I don't really have much to add. I hope folks enjoyed the trailer. Hopefully we'll get something, more of a direct feed video out to them soon so they can look at it in a little bit more detail. I want to thank everybody for the questions and apologize again for having to duck on majority of them. If folks want, they can keep on supplying questions to the forum, and I'll pick them up and answer them as best I can. And like I said, once I get back to the office next week, I'll direct some of the questions. Excuse me, I'll direct some of the questions to the folks who can answer them best and try to get some better answers for people.
All right, thanks a lot. And yeah, like you said, just keep sending me messages about Halo 2 or whatnot. But we've had 86 minutes of Halo 2 right now, and I think we'll move on to the second part of what Mighty Bean is going to cover for us. E3. I don't know. I'm sure you all know, have at least an idea of what E3 is. It's the mecca. Gamers need to pay their respects to E3, you know, once in their lifetime. It's just the ultimate place for gamers, and the ultimate press event where all the people from all around come and show off their great stuff. First of all, what was E3 like?
Well, E3 is absolutely overwhelming. There's just so much going on there and so many things to see. I got the chance to walk the floor for the last 2 days in between sessions of working at the Microsoft booth for Halo PC, and I was just overwhelmed with everything I saw. There's just so much stuff. I can't even begin to tell you some of the cool games that are coming out. I was really impressed with just about everything I saw, and yeah, we can talk about some specific games if you have any questions on them, but by and large, I highly recommend E3 for anybody who can get their foot in the door to get there and have a look around.
Awesome.
And actually, Break, those photos I sent, I'm not sure if you can post those on the site. I took some photos of E3, both during the show, and I got the opportunity after hours to take some pictures of some of the empty booths. And hopefully we can put those up for folks to see who won't have a chance to visit an E3.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna post those right after the show. It's just that all my bandwidth is pretty much shot right now, and it was actually started that before the show, so I haven't had a chance to upload it yet. But yeah, we'll have some pictures that Greg took for us at E3 up right after the show. So I hope you guys can check those out as well. What was your favorite part of E3?
Well, first I'll get the Microsoft stuff out of the way. I'm kind of contractually obligated to talk about the Microsoft booth. The Halo presence there was just awesome. I couldn't believe I was a part of something so major at E3. The Halo 2 theater was just this colossal thing that seated 60 people, just to come in and see what we had to show for Halo 2. And being a part of something like that is just awesome. Beyond that, seeing some of the new stuff from Rare was really exciting. And just being able to walk the show floor and see the new stuff that Nintendo had to offer, just getting that kind of sneak peek on playable games is just really cool.
Go ahead and ask him, Richie.
So I saw Richie was asking about booth babes. What did you want to ask, Richie?
Oh, well, I know you're a married man with kids, so booth babes can't really interest you too much. But I don't know, maybe general impressions. Did you happen to take any pictures of booth babes for us?
Yeah, Break alerted me before I went to E3 that you'd die without some good booth babe pictures, so I took a couple for you. I had heard of E3s by reputation from past years, and it didn't seem that booth babes were all that prevalent this year. I only saw a few instances of that, and not to sound like a company wonk or anything, but I really think that what Microsoft had for the girls helping out with the Mythica booth and the girls helping out with Sudeki were probably some of the booth babes, as far as girls in costume really helping out with the spirit of the show. I think they just did an awesome job.
Awesome.
All right, I'll be looking forward to those pictures.
So Microsoft had the finest women as well, it looks like. Here's a question about Halo 2. Warthog Jumper asked, sorry if it was asked already, I missed the beginning of the show, but with the Scorpion tank, will you be able to drive in one direction and fire in another, because you couldn't in Halo 2? And just remember, anyone who's just joining us, MP3 will be available after the show's over to download.
So exactly how the Scorpion tank's going to work, I don't want to go into too much detail on, other than to say it will be part of Halo 2. It'll be drivable by both you and the AI players, and it'll certainly be something that can wreak some major havoc.
Cool. What was your best of show at E3, or your favorite game of E3, or maybe a few of your favorites if you can't pick one?
So I'll discount the Microsoft stuff because I'm sure you don't want to hear about that. My favorite stuff at E3, I got a chance to sneak in and see what Valve was showing for Half-Life 2, and that was certainly very impressive stuff. I think they've got a great game on their hands there. Beyond that, Prince of Persia was a great surprise. I wasn't expecting to see what I saw there, but the game looks incredibly immersive and really harkens back to the original Prince of Persia that everybody loved in the way it had such fluid animations. I believe they were nominated for Best of Show. I'm not sure exactly who won some of the magazine's Best of Shows, but I think Prince of Persia ranks right up there with some of my favorite things.
Cool. Honestly, I don't know. Roroni's going to accuse me of being a sellout here probably. But my best of show, honestly, is Halo 2. Nothing I've seen has overcome that for me. I just thought it was absolutely awesome. And really excited to play it. It's honestly the first FPS I've ever been actually looking forward to and excited to play. I think it's awesome. I think it kind of made Microsoft's press conference. I mean, they showed some other cool stuff too, but I just think Halo 2 was the reason most people wanted to see it, and I don't think they were disappointed, especially from the reaction I've seen. Got another question in here on the forums about Halo 2. Don't Talk Battleground Halo says, if cooperative play is available, will it be per Xbox or over multiple Xboxes? For instance, multiplayer can be played with 16 players, but you can play a 4-player multiplayer game with 4 Xboxes. Will the same be possible with cooperative play in Halo 2?
Yeah, I really hate to disappoint folks with the little bit of information I'm about to give about. I'm allowed to give. Sorry, I got cut off again. There's not a whole lot I can speak to multiplayer in Halo 2 right now. Other than we are certainly listening to the fans, and we're going to get in every feature that we know folks are expecting.
So, is it safe to say that if they post something in this forum that it might be possible that you'd bring it with you to Bungie to work?
Oh, absolutely. I think we highly we take what the fans have to say very seriously, and because we know they're the consumers that are going to be looking towards the game. They're the folks that we're really aiming to please with this title, and we're taking our time to do it right. So we certainly want to hear what they have to say about it. So yeah, anything that comes up in the forums, I'm certainly going to bring up at work.
All right, so post your thoughts at BreakmanX.com on our forums, and Greg will read them and maybe pass them on to Bungie for you, and might possibly see it in the game. Rusty20Stud asks how he thinks the Half-Life 2 graphics compare to the Halo 2 graphics.
Well, I don't think it's fair to really do a side-by-side comparison between the two. They've got PC hardware at their disposal, and I'm not really sure the videos that they were showing at E3, what kind of hardware they were using to create those videos. But they were certainly impressive. I think they're on par with Halo 2, certainly. It's certainly a step up from Half-Life 1. I think anybody who gets a chance to see those videos certainly should.
All right. So what was it like working the Halo PC, or working on the Halo PC section at E3? Like, how many people came up, and just what was the overall experience of working at booth?
Yeah, working the booth was a lot of fun, and I haven't done that for, many years ago. I helped work one of the Nintendo booths for Viacom, so it's been a long time since I've actually staffed a trade show. And, Halo PC certainly drew a crowd. We were having multiplayer tournaments right there on the show floor for T-shirts and things like that, so I was helping players get set up in new sessions and coaching them through some of the game. I did a really good job of avoiding the media. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not the best interviewee. So whenever I saw a camera coming, I ducked to the other side of the booth and let someone else start taking those questions.
Well, I disagree with you, man, there. I thank you a lot for doing this interview, and I think you're doing a great job. And from the listeners' response, it looks like they're enjoying the interview as well. So thanks a lot for doing it.
Oh, no problem, man. This is a blast.
Cool. And you talked to me before the show, and we were talking a little bit. You were pretty impressed with the Nintendo booth. Could you walk us through that one? Just maybe, the overall, how the booth is, and some of the games that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I had heard some complaints before I arrived at the show. I'm not sure the listeners know, I was only there for the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday. And I had heard that the Nintendo booth was really impossible to get into for the first couple days. But when I was there Thursday, I was really impressed at how easy it was to get in and move around that booth and try out the games. I was really impressed with the way that they had the space laid out. Just in general, I thought the booth was really well done. And I was very impressed that some of the games that they showed during their keynote were playable on the show floor. Double Dash was there, and that was a lot of fun. And even the new Pac-Man prototype was there and playable. And although I didn't get a chance to sit down and try that one out, I watched a few sessions of other folks playing, and it looked like it's a pretty strong party title.
Awesome. And I was really interested in the Pac-Man title. I know you were too. What exactly did you? I mean, were you really impressed with it too? And one other question I just have to ask. Everyone from the show is probably expecting this. Did you get to see Miyamoto, or was he anywhere near where you were, or anything like that?
Yeah, I was. We'll start off with the Pac-Man question. Yeah, I was really impressed with it. I was that they were showing off some of the GBA connectivity in a game that only required 1 GBA. I was really pleased to see that, because I don't really have. I wouldn't really see myself having the opportunity to get together 4 friends and 4 GBAs to take advantage of some of the other games. So it was good to see that they're thinking about, single GBA connectivity with a multiplayer game. And it looked like a blast. I mean, having one guy being able to play traditional Pac-Man against, real human enemies that are hunting him down, and then 3 guys playing sort of a separate Ghost, Pac-Man game on the GameCube screen, which still looked to be a lot of fun in its own right. I think it's a very interesting title. I'm glad that they let people play it out on the show floor.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that title, and I also thought it was really cool that Miyamoto showed it off with the creator of Pac-Man. I'm sorry, I missed it. Did you get to see Miyamoto? Maybe I didn't hear it.
Oh no, I did not get to see Miyamoto. I would love to meet him myself. I'm not too good at. I'm still pretty starstruck, as far as game gurus go. I did get the opportunity when I went to see Half-Life 2. We went along with Akihiro Hino from the Dark Cloud series, and the whole time I was walking down with him toward the Half-Life booth, I was just too nervous to even introduce myself. So even if Miyamoto had come by, I doubt I'd even have the nerve to say hello to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be pretty nervous as well. Shadow has this weird idea of something that would happen if Miyamoto came by. I don't know. All right. Warthog Jumper has another comment in here about Halo 2. Also in early models of Halo 1, the back of the Banshee's tail turned left or right, but was taken out in the final make. Is there any plans to add that detail back into Halo 2?
I'm sorry, was that question about the rear tires turning?
Let me look exactly here. It just says the back of the Banshee's tail.
Oh, I'm sorry, the back of the Banshee's tail. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the redesigned vehicles. I can't really comment for certain what's going to happen either way. I certainly think that we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that the vehicles just kick ass. We've already had some new ideas for the Banshee that I know I've been suggesting. Some other folks have been suggesting as well that there might be a redesign in store for the Banshee, but I'm really not certain.
All right. What other booths were really cool? I mean, was Sony's booth cool, or I know Microsoft's booth, I'm sure you liked it pretty well. But was Sony's booth cool, or what was another booth that just really stood out to you?
I didn't actually spend a whole lot of time in Sony's booth. I was more impressed by what third-party folks were showing for the PlayStation 2. I sent you a pic of one of the things I saw, and unfortunately I'm blanking on the company's name, but there's a picture of it there in the packet that I sent you, that someone's making a set of remote screens, which are basically controllers with LCD screens built in, and they were showing off one of their versions for the PS2, which meant that basically you could plug this into a PS2 and play with your own personal controller and screen, and I thought that was really appealing. I'm not sure if they're going to, I didn't get a chance to talk to them to see if they're going to release any sort of SDK to allow developers to take advantage of that situation, rather than doing split screen, actually giving each player their own screen. But there's still a lot of innovation happening on the PS2 as far as peripherals go, and that was really good to see.
All right, well, Greg, one of the things that I've been talking about on the show, and just one of the things I've been hoping for in my own mind that I'm talking about on the show, was HAL Studios, I believe, said they were going to have a big announcement at E3. And did you go by the HAL's booth and see anything about that? I was hoping it would be an Earthbound announcement, but I haven't heard anything about it yet.
No, I'm sorry I missed that. I'm not sure if that's something that you mentioned to me before I left, but it totally slipped my mind at the show, and I wasn't there for the announcement. Hopefully they'll get something out on the internet so we can find out what happened.
It actually wasn't for sure going to be made at E3. It's possible in Nintendo fashion that they will hold this off for Space World, their own thing they do. So we'll see if it comes out then. But I don't think they made it at E3 because none of the major sites reported it. So we'll have to see when it does come out. Warthog Jumper would like to know if there's any chance that the flamethrower will be in Halo 2.
Yeah, again, can't make any promises about that. I love the flamethrower myself, and I'm certainly going to fight for it. So we're just going to have to wait and see what comes about in the final game.
Awesome. And then back to E3. There was a bunch of games that we're really looking forward to. I know it was impossible for you to see them all, but did you happen to see Castlevania at E3?
Yeah, I sent you there should be a pic there of the Castlevania, I don't know, the kiosk, I guess you call it. It was really impressive. I was watching other folks play it. It always had quite a crowd around it, so I couldn't quite get up to a controller myself, but it looks like folks are really going to have a Castlevania title that they enjoy coming out. I'm not sure when the release date of that is, but it looked pretty final at the show floor.
All right, yeah, Jack Burton will be happy to hear about that because he's a big Castlevania fan. I'm going to try to look up the release date of that Castlevania game real quick for anyone who wants to know. I saw a video of that game, and I thought it just looked absolutely awesome. And I just looked at that pic you sent me. Again, the kiosk, it just looks freaking awesome. No specific release date, but they say November 2003 is the release date for Castlevania for PS2. So it should be out before too long. Did you get to try out Double Dash or any of the LAN capability on the GameCube?
Yeah, I was a big fan of Mario Kart from way back, so I stood in line and made sure I got a chance to belly up to a controller for Double Dash. And it was a lot of fun. They've made a lot of innovations in that game that I think Mario Kart fans are going to love. The two characters in the vehicle, The ability to switch between them and have each one hold a different weapon, gives a whole new level to the kind of the limited inventory system from Mario Kart. And the new tracks and the new weapons you can launch at each other were just phenomenal. And beyond that, I was really happy to see that it's still, Mario Kart still holds its old style as being a game of really competing against the other drivers and not so much the environment. It's, a lot of kart racers have kind of taken the tact of having you sort of battle your way through the track and having the track be kind of your main adversary. But with Double Dash, it's still just you, driving on a track against the other players, it's really refreshing.
Did you get to see any of the LAN or networking capabilities on Double Dash at the show floor?
No, the kiosks that I saw were just 4-player stations, split screen. So they may have had LAN at other stations, but the one I lined up for was just me and 4 guys on a single GameCube.
Cool. I'm pretty excited for that. One thing I heard about the LAN thing is that GameSpy is actually already working on tunneling software similar to XB Connect. So that'd be pretty cool. We could actually play against each other if you end up getting your cube. One thing that's kind of funny about Greg and I, he's been listening to the show for a while, and I used to really, I used to not really think there was anything worth having on the Xbox there for a while. Thanks to a couple good games coming out and suddenly liking Halo, I've started to like it a little more. And the funny thing is, as I've been doing that, he's been starting to warm up to the Cube a little bit. And you even are thinking about getting one, right, Greg?
Yeah, I had promised myself that if Nintendo announced a price drop at E3, I was going to go get a Cube, but it doesn't look up until now that they've followed suit with a price drop.
Yeah, I was disappointed by that. I heard that they were going to drop the price as well and didn't end up doing it. Hopefully they'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they still have the game bundle going, though, which is kind of a price drop in itself. So do you know how much longer that's going to run?
They haven't specified the exact length. I do know that Zelda's going to be bundled with it, or it should be already. They said May 4th. And they're also going to be bundling the Game Boy Player with the GameCube as well, so you'll be able to play Game Boy Advance games on your TV screen. So I don't know if that's going to come with games as well, but I know they're going to start bundling the Game Boy Player with the GameCube as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. By the way, did they have the GameCube player, or the Game Boy Player for the GameCube on the show floor?
I didn't see it personally. I would be surprised if it wasn't there. I'm sure I just missed it. I was focused more on making sure I got myself to Double Dash and Rebel Strike 3. I kind of bypassed a lot of the Game Boy Advance stuff that I saw going on and was focused on the consoles mostly. So I really can't say for certain if it was there or not.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting that they'd be bundling that with the Cube. It wasn't something I was expecting. I don't know. I was really hoping for that price drop. I think that would have really been a cool thing. But I guess we'll have to live with this. Hopefully they'll release some more deals that'll make it even more enticing to get a Cube. One game that we've been looking for, as you just mentioned, is the Star Wars game, Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. What were your impressions of that?
Yeah, like a lot of folks that I've talked to, I was really skeptical by some of the early videos that came out. It looked like some of the speeder bike might be a rail game and some of the other stuff might be pre-canned, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised on the show floor that they had playable versions out and they were pretty free-form. You could, for a large part, you could go where you wanted to go. You weren't stuck on a rail, and even indoor, the tree scenes that they showed in the video were highly interactive, with you being able to tip over trees and light them on fire and so forth. I think it's probably one of the best looking Cube games, graphics-wise, that I've seen to date.
Yeah, I think it's the best realistic graphics that I've seen on the Cube since the other Star Wars game for it. So I think in that respect, it's definitely done well.
All right, and while we're on you giving impressions of games, also going down through the list at GameCube, or not GameCube, GameSpot.com, I also spotted that some information was given out about the new Deus Ex game, Deus Ex Invisible War. Could I get your impressions on this game?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't see that. I saw Deus Ex. I saw their kiosk on the show floor, and the time I tried to get there, I just couldn't get near it. It must have been, right after an announcement or some kind of demo, because the crowd around it was just unruly. So I ended up just kind of going off to see World of Warcraft instead. So yeah, fortunately, I can't really offer much on that.
All right, we got a couple new questions from the forums. Silent Assassin asks, when Xbox first hit the scene and Halo was released, Bungie was considered to be Microsoft's biggest or at least most important developer. Now that Microsoft has acquired Rare, do you guys at Bungie feel like there is some competitive feelings toward them at all? Do you guys feel like you need to show them up?
No, not at all. There's not really that kind of competition inside the MGS studios. We were really happy to have Rare on board. We think they're an awesome developer, and having them as part of the first-party team is just, it's an awesome thing for us. There was a meet and greet between, kind of a summit meeting between Bungie and Rare, I believe Wednesday morning, but unfortunately I wasn't at the show in time to be a part of that, so I'm looking forward to finding out what that meeting was like, if it actually did take place, and what it was like to have some of the Bungie guys and the Rare guys get together and talk.
Cool. I heard some rumors that the stuff that was shown by Rare at the show wasn't that well received by the press. Did you hear anything similar to this, or did you see the Rare games and have similar feelings or dissimilar feelings?
I didn't hear those press reports per se, but I would disagree with them pretty strongly. There was a carousel kiosk of Conquer that was playable, and I know a certain number of the Bungie guys, myself included, really got hooked on playing Conquers. We played that well into the night, one night. Sorry, after the booth had closed, I was saying we played Conquers well into the night once. It was a lot of fun. And I was really impressed with Cameo. I had a lot of fun playing through the demo mission that was also playable on the show floor. Grabbed by the Ghoulies was playable on the show floor, and a lot of folks are having fun with that. So I don't think Rare had a bad showing at E3 at all.
Well, that's nice to hear. I thought I'd seen a trailer for Cameo, and I thought it looked awesome. Looks like a really fun game. I only saw a brief glimpse of Conquer. It looked alright from what I saw. And I don't know, I thought Rare had a fairly strong showing as well. Did they show any Perfect Dark stuff at the show?
I don't believe so, not that I saw.
Alright, you just heard many things around the world against Rare. No, just kidding. Apollo asks, the light sword needs to be in Halo 2 usable, my Master Chief. I think that the vast majority of Halo fans want to see this. We've already talked about this, and I think you're going to maybe bring this request to Bungie with you. The music in multiplayer is almost non-existent. Can Halo 2 please incorporate user soundtracks for multiplayer, much in the same way the Tony Hawk Skater games allowed the user-imported CD soundtracks to be played while playing in the game?
Yeah, that's another bit of user feedback I'm certainly going to bring into the office. As far as music and multiplayer goes, I'm not sure what the plan is. I'll have to talk with Marty about that and see what he has in mind. I know that he gauges the music to really go along with the storyline for the single player, and that might be the principal reason why it's not there in multiplayer. But that's a bit of feedback I'll certainly take to the office.
Awesome. Looks cool. Master Chief's visor reflection map needs to be in real time. It looks so much better in the announcement trailer than in the E3 trailer. Actually, he said earlier in the show that it was actually real time, just assuming there was less reflection in it.
Yeah, this one came up earlier. We've been letting the artist try out a few different visors in anticipation of E3, and it sounds like the one that we went through the one that we went with might not be folks' favorite. So that's definitely some valuable feedback for the artists back at Bungie. And I'm seeing in the forum the next question about the flamethrower. I'm going to fight for the flamethrower because I really like it. I'm not sure whether or not it'll make it into the final game, but we're certainly going to make a push for it.
All right, we got a question in here from Rusty H20 Stud. He wants to know how the Half-Life 2 physics system compares to Halo 2's physics system.
I think both games have really compelling physics systems. I was very impressed with what Half-Life was showing at E3. I think beyond what was released on the internet, they were showing a little bit more inside the booth that was also very impressive. As far as comparing the two, I really don't want to walk into that minefield. Other than to say that we've got guys dedicated to physics on Halo 2, and we're certainly going to make that a compelling part of the game.
Awesome. Looks like I'm gonna refresh the forums here, see if we got any more questions. Let's see. Warthog Jumper asks, is there a possibility that the winch on the Warthog will be able to be used in Halo 2?
I'm not sure that the Warthog's ever going to end up in any kind of a ditch where you would need to use a winch to get it out. But yeah, that's another piece of feedback that'll certainly come into the office, and we'll see what we can do about it.
All right. I think we'll move back to E3 a little bit here. Did you happen to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in action? Because I know as a kid I was a big fan of that, of the show and the games. I was wondering if you saw anything about that at the Konami booth.
Yeah, I did see that title, and it looked like a blast. I watched some other folks play it who seemed to know what they were doing, rather than pick up the controller myself. It looked like it was a lot of fun, and it had some of those cartoon, pow and whack sort of things come up on screen to show impacts and so forth. It really brought the comic book to life. I'm really looking forward to that title.
Awesome, me too. And does it support 4 players?
That I didn't see. I think the kiosks I saw had 2 controllers. That might have just been a limitation of their installation there at the show. I'm not sure what the game supports.
Well, I asked because it looked like on the trailer that there were 4 turtles on screen at once, similar to in the arcade version of the older games. Did you play the older Turtles games, like the arcade ones of the 80s and some for the NES and SNES?
Oh, yeah, I played the arcade one a long time ago. So, yeah, I've been a Ninja Turtle fan from way back.
Awesome, me too. How would you say it would compare to those old games?
Well, the graphics are certainly up quite a few notches, and it looked like the combat, was pretty appealing too. As far as comparing it to the old arcade games, I think it's going to be, far and away a much better experience than some of the older games were, as far as, bringing people into the comic book version of the Turtles, rather than the movie or TV cartoon versions.
That's cool. Yeah, I looked at the art style and it looks just great. I don't know. I'm really excited about that title, and I think like you said, it looks like a blast. The only thing that could make it better is maybe some good old Xbox Live support or PS2 online, or if Nintendo ever releases an online thing for that game and online for that, because I think that game would just be a blast to play co-op online.
Oh yeah, co-op online with 4 players controlling the Turtles would just be awesome.
Yeah, just asking about another one of my favorite games out there. Did you happen to see anything Battlefield 1942 related? If you listen to the past shows, I pretty much obsess about that game. Just hoping for any news you might have.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that game in particular at the show. I I'm really looking forward to playing that one myself. I was hooked on the predecessor, Codename Eagle, and with E3 coming up and all the work I had to do at Bungie, I've been resisting the urge to run out and get a copy of 1942 because I know I'll be hooked, and then productivity will pretty much die after that. So now that the show's done, I'm looking forward to getting a copy and getting online with that, and not trying to get by on just the demo anymore.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I was hooked on the demo for 2 months, but it's well worth the money. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, and if you ever get the chance, Codename Eagle is kind of the World War I telling of that same game. It plays largely the same way. It's more of a LAN game, obviously, but it's really satisfying as well.
Yeah, I'd heard about that beforehand, and I think people have come up with a way now to turn the demo into pretty much the full version, minus a couple of maps. So, yeah, I think I'll look into that.
Cool. Yeah, the other...
Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing I saw at the show that was really impressive was Worlds of Warcraft. I've been really looking forward to seeing what Blizzard had in store, and having that game playable on the show floor was a big surprise, and I was really happy to see it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Did you happen to see any product number 3 or virtual or Beautiful Joe stuff at the Nintendo booth or the Capcom booth?
Yeah, Beautiful Joe was at a number of booths. I saw it at both Nintendo and Capcom's booth, and I love the style of that game. It's kind of I wouldn't really call it cell shading. It's really getting back to a hand-drawn pen and ink style that just looks phenomenal. And I didn't get a chance to grab the controller myself. There's a good line around all the Beautiful Joe machines, but the kind of the slow motion moves that they do in that game and the battle sequences, it's a great retelling of platform games in a whole new art style. I'm really looking forward to playing that one.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we're both pretty big platformer fans. I'm really excited for that title. Nintendo's actually in their preview DVD or GameCube disc. Sorry, they're going to actually have a playable demo of that, which will be free at retailers, similar to the Winter DVD they have that you could play on TVs. But this one is supposedly going to be playable. But that is a game I am really looking forward to and cannot wait to play it. What about product number 3? Did you see anything about that one?
Oh, yeah, Piano 3 I only saw on some of the large screen TVs that they had there. I didn't get a chance to actually get up to one of the kiosks and really see it in action, so I only saw some of the trailer stuff that I think everybody's seen up to this point. But it really looks like it's going to be a very impressive game.
Cool. Yeah, it looks interesting, if nothing else. What about, or Shadow Man, go ahead and talk about the Square booth, or ask about it.
Yeah, I just want to know if you had a chance to make it over to the Square booth and see everything they're showing. They're probably showing a little Final Fantasy X2, or probably Final Fantasy 11, Crystal Chronicles. Just what all, did you get to see anything over there?
Yeah, I'm afraid I didn't make it over to that booth. I haven't really gotten into the Final Fantasy titles myself, so I was, with the limited amount of time I had on the show floor, I was kind of focused elsewhere. But they had a pretty sizable booth and a very big crowd around that game, that's for sure.
Cool. Bet Shadow Man wishes he could be there. But hopefully we'll be at their booth next year when we go to E3. What about, do you get to see anything about Knights of the Old Republic by BioWare?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
All right. What about Jedi Academy for Xbox and PC?
No, my Star Wars fix was pretty much with Rebel Strike. I kind of stared at that and kind of lost sight of all the other Star Wars titles, unfortunately, and just kind of, kept my focus on Rebel Strike.
That's cool. Yeah, that game looks really impressive. There's so much so much stuff at E3. It's just so it's just so much stuff to look at. Yeah, let's.
Oh yeah, that was a big problem I had at the show. Was walking the show floor and with everything that there is to see, and after a while you kind of forget whether or not you were even in a booth because just the information that's coming in is just so strong.
Yeah, hopefully next year when we go, we can all split up and go to different booths. Because I just don't think any one person could even hope to, cover it all, because it's just so overwhelming. What about just the booths themselves? The pictures you sent me just look awesome in the just elaborate, scheme of things. And you mentioned Nintendo's booth was crazy. I saw some pictures of Sega's booth from 1999, which is like incredibly elaborate. Not focusing on games. Who had just the best designed booth, just in how it looked, with all the bells and whistles and things like that? I mean, who had the most just attractive booth, not considering the actual content or games they had?
Well, I was very impressed with the way that Nintendo's booth was laid out, and that the games were and they had things other than games on display. They had a GBA controlled remote control RC car track where you were racing actual RC cars around a track on a table and then doing your pit crew on the GBA every once in a while. So they had sort of installations like that, beyond games, that were really interesting. They had Pokemon characters walking around in costume, just, lots of liveliness in that booth. Blizzard's booth was this multi-tiered, catwalked sort of scaffolding thing that was really cool. You sort of look at games on the show floor, then climb up to the second tier and look at Worlds of Warcraft, and then across a catwalk to go see StarCraft Ghost. It was just a very impressive layout
awesome.
for a booth.
Wow, sounds really elaborate and just awesome. What about I know the Penny Arcade posts about they have bars and things like that. I've heard things like sometimes companies hire bands. Were there things like that, like bars where you could order drinks and maybe get food and things like that?
No, I didn't see a lot of that in booth. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff, as far as bars or food or drinks or anything like that going on in the booths. Now, a lot of them, I'm sure Penny Arcade might have access to some of the sort of private areas of each of the booths. A lot of the companies have kind of an invitation-only area up on their rooftops of their booth or something. And I imagine that's where you might find a lot of that sort of thing going on.
Yeah,
maybe when you guys get there next year with your press passes, you can check that stuff out.
Yeah, as Tycho called them, their citadels, where they have all sorts of crazy stuff that you can check out.
Yeah, this year seemed to be, as far as the public area of the booths go, it was really just focused on the games. There wasn't a whole lot of other distractions. There were some Pokemon characters. The SpongeBob was running around in costume, and it even seemed like the booth babes were toned down this year, and the focus was really just on playable kiosks and big movie screens and just letting people get access to the new titles.
About the booth babes, what function do they really hold? Do they just kind of stand by the games, and just kind of like just there? Do they come up to you and talk to you and tell you about the game? Do they interact with you at all? Or are they just kind of there to kind of attract you to different sections of E3?
I get the impression that they're really there just as an eye-catching measure, just to try to draw people into the booth to see the game. They're also very very cordial about taking photos with people and sort of making little memorabilia, letting folks take pictures home from E3 of them posing with the different booth babes. So I think that's pretty much the focus that they serve there.
Does that make you guys any more excited about E3, Richie and Shadow?
Damn right.
How could it not?
All right. Well, I hope we'll get to meet some of those next year, you guys. There's just did you happen to chance to see either Metal Gear Solid game, either the one for the Cube or PS2?
No, I didn't get a chance to see Metal Gear Solid at all. Really, there was it was definitely there, and it looked like it may have been playable. I'm not sure. I didn't really get close to that area.
Hopefully they rename it. That's really the only qualm I have with it, and it looks like kind of the original Metal Gear. So, what other games have you seen that you haven't mentioned yet that really kind of made a lasting impression?
Let me think about that. We talked about Beautiful Joe. That was a pleasant surprise. And Conkers was a big surprise. That was very playable and incredibly fun in the way they had it set up there with a bunch of networked kiosks that you could play squirrels versus teddy bears in a multiplayer fiasco. Was just awesome.
Awesome. What about, did you happen to go to E3's booth at all? I know it's not a booth that really interests me. The only stuff I really like of theirs is their EA Big stuff. But did you happen to see the new Bond game? Because I've heard the new Bond game isn't going to be an FPS. It's actually kind of being designed almost from the ground up to be different and better than the other EA Bond games.
Yeah, no, I didn't really check that stuff out. I didn't have enough time to really visit everybody, and what I ended up kind of doing was giving a lot of booths just kind of a walk by to see if there was anything from sort of the hallway that would draw me in. And for some reason, I don't know why, I assumed that EA was going to be showing mainly sports titles, which are not really my bag, so I kind of passed on that booth.
Yes, and not too great sports titles, I might add. I know you talked about Sega before pre-show, and you saw the new Sonic game. What were your impressions of Sonic Heroes?
It looked like a great revisiting of Sonic. I was really impressed with it. I had brought Sonic Advance 2 for the GBA to play on the plane down there, so I had Sonic on the brain when I arrived. And I'm a big Sega Sonic fan from way back, so I'm really happy to see Heroes coming out, and really love seeing it on the show floor. It as far as a 3D Sonic game goes, I think it's one of the top ones that you could ask for.
Awesome. I'm a big Sonic fan as well. So you think it'll be better than the other 3D Sonics? And how does it compare with the old school 2D ones? Does it kind of bring more of that feel? Because it looked like, to me, from the videos I saw, it looked kind of more reminiscent of the 2D. I mean, it was 3D, but it looked more reminiscent of the 2D art style more with just the stages and things.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm familiar with the 3D Sonic that was on the Dreamcast, and that had some blind jump problems and some certain other issues that kind of were a distraction from just getting out there and racing down the track as Sonic. I think a lot of that is back in the new title, where it's going to be more of the fast-paced, really plowing your way through the level and making some intelligent, jump decisions and things like that go back to the 2D style of play that, we all know and love.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that title. Did you happen to see that other Sonic Team title for GameCube, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg or whatever?
No, I was really upset that I missed out on that. I understand that that's coming from Sega First Party 2, is that correct?
Yeah, it's coming from Sonic Team, actually. Yuji Naka, it's one of his new projects.
Yeah, I was really upset to have missed that, because it looks like a great, innovative idea. I was really looking forward to seeing that one, and unfortunately just didn't make it over to that area in time to see it.
I actually saw some video of it, and it surprised me. It looks like a fun game. I mean, the basic reason you have an egg is you roll around on it, and I don't know, it looks like kind of a new, fresh take. It looks like it's kind of using a similar version of Sonic Team's Sonic Adventure engine, but and the graphics look pretty good. I think it looks like a fun game. We've got another question in here from Warthog Jumper. With a third Halo book coming out in December, how isn't Bungie working with Eric Nyland to have the book work with the game? The book takes place between the end of Halo 1 and leads up to Halo 2.
That's really a question that Jason Jones should shoulder, about how the story is working and how he deals with Eric in authoring those books. I really don't have much I can really add to that would really be appropriate.
All right, that's cool. Did you happen to see Resident? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, other than to say that, the fact that Eric Nyland is writing the books for us is just, it's just huge. We're really happy to have him writing those books, and it seems like they're selling really well, and that the fans are really picking up on the storyline and some of the flashbacks that he's placed in there, giving hints to the storyline that folks are getting excited about. So yeah, but as far as the synergy between him and the actual story that's going to take place in Halo 2, that's really not a question for me to answer.
All right, that's cool. Still, that sounds pretty cool. I actually haven't read the books. Yeah, I was just wondering about Capcom's booth. Did you have a chance to see Resident Evil 4?
I don't think I did. I did spend some time in the Capcom booth, and for some reason I'm drawing a blank on that. It's one of the reasons why I highly recommend anybody who goes to E3, not make the mistake that I made and not bring a video camera, because trying to recount what you saw, even at the end of the day, I mean, sometimes you step out of a booth and there's just so much stuff going on, you can't remember what you just saw. I'd really love to have a videotape to go over, what I walked and things that I'm sure I probably did see and just can't recall right now.
That's very understandable. I think next year when we go to E3, we'll bring my camera that I interviewed the Panini Arcade guys with. A question in from the forum. Silent Assassin asks, a couple of weeks ago, the official Xbox magazine ran a huge article on Halo 2. Mike Salmon, the editor of OXM, asked the sound department how the bullets sounded underwater, and the sound team responded with, awesome. Can you talk at all about the use of water in Halo 2?
No, I'm afraid I can't. Yeah, that was kind of a funny slip to go out in OXM. I'm not sure what the fans are going to make of that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Man, I need to upgrade my TV and sound system and everything just so I can take full advantage of the new games coming out. Wow. It just seems like we have such a good year ahead of us. I don't know, E3 may do that to us. Why don't we just go and maybe see which your favorite games for booth. What was your favorite booth or favorite game in the Capcom booth?
You know what? I'm not really sure I can really draw on a favorite from Capcom. Remind me of what sort of stuff they were showing. I'm really my head's still buzzing from E3.
Let's see. They were showing a couple Mega Man games, Mega Man X7 for PS2, Mega Man Network Transmission for GameCube, and they were showing the Capcom 5, or they didn't actually show Dead Phoenix, but they showed product number 3, Resident Evil 4, Beautiful Joe, games like that.
Well, I certainly spent some time with Beautiful Joe. That's a very impressive title, and I really support people trying to, make new strides in the visual appearance of a game. You mentioned before that they might release a playable demo of that. I think that's going to be great to let people get a feel for it. So I think, folks by and large might resist something that's so visually different, but it's really something I would recommend folks try out. It was, in my opinion, a big highlight of the show was seeing that game up close and running.
That's actually one of the games I'm looking forward to most here coming up. What about Ninja Gaiden for Xbox? Did you happen to see that? That's probably right below Halo 2 there for games I'm looking forward to for Xbox.
Yeah, I actually didn't get a chance to look at that, and you'd think I'd spend more time in the Microsoft booth playing a bunch of games, but as soon as I could break away from the booth that I was working, I was trying to get myself to the far corners of the show and things that I wouldn't normally see. Because spending a lot of time in the Halo booth, I pretty much got an eye full of Halo and Mythica and Conquerors. So, as soon as I could take a break, I flew like a shot, as far away as I could to try to see some far-reaching things.
It's cool, probably what I do too. Rusty20 Stud asks what you think about brute force.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Break. I don't mean to cause dead air there. I didn't hear what you said. Oh, Brute Force. Yeah, I played Brute Force at the office. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't really take the time to play it at the show because I was fortunate enough to see an early version of it at the office, and I think folks are in for a pleasant surprise. I know it's been billed as a Halo killer, which you know we kind of take in stride, but you know they do have a really good game on their hands, and it's not that similar to Halo that we really think that there needs to be any sort of direct competition between the two games. But as far as squad combat goes, it really looks impressive, and I do love the fact that it allows people to you know sort of drop into a game and take over one of the characters in the squad for a while and then put it back down, and you know lets people come in and out of a longer engaging story. I think that's really cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's one of the games I was actually looking forward to too. I heard it had Xbox Live multiplayer. I was just wondering. You told me that you watched about an hour-long video of Halo 2 at the office. Can you give us any comments off of that?
Oh, you're talking about, yeah, I watched because I wasn't at the show, I watched the video of the Microsoft press announcement, which was about an hour long. Halo 2 was at the end, but they also showed a lot of the new sports plans for online live and how they're going to have new facilities in Xbox Live for team support and fantasy sports and things like that. It all sounds wonderful. I mean, I just can't get over how cool Xbox Live is becoming, and I hope folks, you know, get in there and take advantage of all the things that it's going to allow them to do.
Do you know anything about Xbox Live 2.0? Did they release any features on that at E3?
No, I don't actually know too much about it other than what they said in the keynote address there. I'm not actually even really sure of what the release date is.
I heard they wanted to get it out before the next crop of sports games, so sometime in the fall, I think, or maybe earlier than that even, I don't know, but that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, I know I think the anniversary for some of the initial subscribers is coming up, so I would imagine that they'll try to get it out in time for, you know, those folks when their anniversary comes up to have something new to look at.
Cool. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Richie and Shadow, any other games you want to ask Greg about?
No, I think I've asked about all I can think of right now, but glad you offered your thoughts, man.
Well, I just want to know if also if Microsoft showed off their new RPGs they're planning to release in Japan to kind of boost their support over there, called True Fantasy Live, which was recently in there's a fairly good article was done about it in GMR. I was wondering if they showed anything at E3 for that.
I didn't see anything per se. Whether or not it was there or not, I don't know for sure. Like I said before, I had the opportunity to be near Hino-san and didn't even have the courage to introduce myself, you know, let alone ask about that game, because that's something I'm really looking forward to. I think it's awesome that we're finally going to address that RPG public on the Xbox and try to bring some of that gaming goodness over to our side. And I'm really happy that he's on board with it. I think he's a very gifted designer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the final product.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I'm looking forward to that as well. One thing interesting, the head of Tecmo actually said something interesting. He was talking about developers and how they make messy ports, where he actually specifically pointed out EA and how their ports are really badly programmed across different platforms, and they're really sloppy, and they go bottom up instead of top down, whereas they start with the PS2 and then kind of port them the other systems rather than starting with the most powerful system and then kind of going down from that, and saying that with each port you should take full advantage of whatever hardware platform you're using. And I know Bungie obviously does that because it's completely, you know, exclusive. But I was just wondering what you thought about that comment.
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate side effect of cross-platform development, that sometimes they go for the lowest common denominator, and resources being what they are, I'm sure that they have to make those fiscal decisions, but I really wish that folks would take full advantage of each console and really put out the best product that they can. I know with Halo PC, we took that approach in making sure that the folks who did the PC port, the guys over at Gearbox, were the best guys we could find for the job, and we're focused, almost exclusively on getting Halo PC out and not only porting the original game, but adding, all sorts of new features that they felt were compelling for the PC version. I think it's just a mistake to do anything less.
Awesome, I completely agree. Sega seems to do it pretty good as well. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's one thing that really bothers me is when they do poor ports like that. And maybe you guys seem to be setting a good example for the rest of the industry. Let's see if people follow.
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly think it makes sense to put out the best game you can. I think that's one of the reasons. Excuse me. On a side note, I think that Xbox in general had a very good E3 because a lot of the third-party publishers were showing their cross-product lineup side by side on all three consoles, and in a situation like that, Xbox really shines when you can see it side by side on a multi-console game like that.
That's definitely a strong port of the box. That usually the cross-platform games end up being better on it.
Another game I was looking at, Greg, was another one for Xbox called Otogi. Break, I'm sure I butchered that. Otogi Myth of Demons, which I was just kind of looking through, and it just kind of looked like an interesting game. Did you see anything for that?
I only saw a little bit of that one myself. I'm looking forward to finding out a bit more about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to spend any time with it.
All right. So Richie and Shadow, do you have any more closing comments?
No, just glad for the insider news at E3, and I look forward to those pictures you took, Greg.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully, hopefully Break can get those up on the site, or on my own site if I can get a chance to do that today.
Yeah, I'll get them. I'll be uploading them right after the show.
Alright, I just have one last thing. I completely forgot about this, and I couldn't believe it. Did you see anything from Max Payne 2? I know it was going off on 3 different consoles. I think it was PC, PS2, and Xbox. I didn't know whether you saw anything for it, but I mean that's.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's another one I missed that I'm really kicking myself over because I loved Max Payne on the Xbox, and Max Payne 2 can only be that good or better. So yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things. You get back to the hotel room and you start kicking yourself over all the things that you missed that you meant to see.
That's cool and definitely understandable. Well, Greg, do you have any closing comments before we sign off?
No, just thanks a lot for having me on the show. This was a lot of fun. I'm sorry I had to punt on a bunch of the questions. Like we said before, folks want to post questions into the forum. I'll be sure to take those to the office, and any answers I wasn't able to give today, maybe we can get some feedback on and put those up in the forums for you.
All right. Thanks a lot for doing the interview, man. We appreciate it a lot, and it looks like the listeners have been too. Thanks a lot for listening to the game show. We broadcast live every Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time about all the latest game happenings. The shows usually aren't quite this long, but E3 just kind of made this one go a lot longer, and all the great Halo 2 information we got. The shows usually run about 90 minutes. But thanks a lot for listening to the game show, and we'll see you same time next week.